So according to the biblical narrative of Joseph, described in the book of Genesis, God raises Joseph to eminence in Egypt. As we explained in previous messages, he goes through a series of trials. But his faithfulness in God is seen by the Pharaoh at that time, who entrusts all his decisions in the hands of Joseph. So Joseph rises to eminence in Egypt. Then God brings Joseph's people, the children of Israel, into Egypt, where they too rise to prominence in Egypt. Now it states regarding this, in Israel, meaning Jacob took his journey with all that he had and came to Beersheba and offered sacrifices unto the God of his father Isaac. And God spake unto Israel in the visions of the night and said, Jacob, Jacob. And he said, Here I am. And he said, I am God, the God of thy father. Fear not to go down into Egypt, for I will there make of thee a great nation. I will go down with thee into Egypt, and I will also surely bring thee up again, and Joseph shall put his hand upon thy eyes. So this is another aspect of the fulfillment of the messianic prophecies as it relates to the children of Israel's plight in Egypt mentioned or related to Genesis 15. This is a scene that must be fulfilled. So here we learn that Almighty God was responsible for Jacob or Israel going into Egypt. And he promised to make a great nation of Israel while they were in Egypt. Almighty God continues to inform Jacob that he will bring them out of Egypt after making them a great nation. So the phrase, and Joseph shall put his hand upon thy eyes, means that through Joseph's suffering and sacrifice, his people will become a great nation or come into their greatness. And again, Joseph prefigures the Messiah. Now, according to the Bible, the plight of the children of Israel in Egypt begins in the book of Exodus after Joseph dies. It doesn't begin in Egypt when Joseph is there. A new Pharaoh arises and decides that the children of Israel have become too mighty in fulfillment of what God said he would do, make them a great nation, right in the midst of the Egyptians and Pharaoh. So let's consider first Joseph's death. It states, and Joseph said unto his brethren, I die, and God will surely visit you and bring you out of this land unto the land which he sware to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. And Joseph took an oath of the children of Israel, saying, God will surely visit you, and ye shall carry up my bones from hence. So Joseph died, being 110 years, and they embalmed him, and he was put in a coffin in Egypt. Now, there's much depth to this specific scene as it relates to its current fulfillment, especially when we consider that the Honorable Louis Farrakhan is the fulfiller of the narrative of Joseph. However, on face value, we see that Joseph, despite his prominence in Egypt, knew that God would take the children of Israel out of Egypt and that they would mount up to establish their independence on his example and wisdom. This is what is meant by the phrase, ye shall carry up my bones from hence. Now, did Joseph know that a new king or Pharaoh would arise to persecute his people, the children of Israel? Or Israel at the time, they became children under the persecution. Thereby requiring, or did Joseph know this, thereby requiring God to come to deliver them from the persecution of Pharaoh and his people? Now, of course, God told Jacob that he would bring them out of Egypt. He didn't tell Jacob why they would need to come out of Egypt. And neither did Joseph. So again, the deliverer of the chosen people of God is the Messiah.